All right, Facebook family. I was trying to just really not really do anything. This is kind of my first social media type of video. And I just really want to address some things regarding the domestic terrorism that we're seeing in our country after viewing two videos of two men shot in the last, I want to say 48 to 2 or 3 days, in the last 3 days. And I really want to commend that young lady, Diamond Reynolds, because she represented Black women very well, because the average woman would probably be really hysterical, out of character, and would have put herself in a position to really be incarcerated for being resisting arrest, or some of the excuses that they give, that she's not cooperative with police. And I really put this plea out for the clergy, for our pastors, for our first ladies to really step up. We asked the question, where do we start? One of the men of God said we got to put our feet to the faith. We have to begin to get out here and step out in faith and walk this movement out. But I really believe that it's going to start with pastors loving their spiritual sons. The return of the hearts of the fathers to the sons and the children have got to begin in the church. There are so many hurting men in the church. And yes, there are police officers that are going to church, and there are gang members that are going to church, and there are college students that are going to church. And we say, where do we start? You have, the harvest is great. You have people that are out in the streets protesting, but where are the shepherds? The sheep are out there. They're almost like sheep being led to the slaughter. And I just really put your faith on trial right now. And ask yourself, are you being the spiritual parent? Are you being the spiritual father? Are you being the spiritual mother as the first lady of that house, where you're loving your daughters, where they're not going to be hostile because of domestic terrorism? Domestic violence, all-time high, and even higher in the church. We talk about black on black crime, but let's talk about church folk on church folk crimes, how we character assassinate, and we violate each other with our words, and we tear each other down. And if healing doesn't start at the house of God, the country is where they're going to be. So the harvest is great. People are out there and they're fighting for a cause, but they are like sheep without a shepherd. And we have sheep that are in our own congregations, and we're not loving them. We're not taking them to our bosom. We're not taking them to our heart and loving them like the parents of the church that we're supposed to be, the spiritual moms, where we have these hard conversations, Titus 2 conversations with our sons and our daughters. And it may not change how they respond in a situation of being asked to put their hands up or get a ID or any of that, but at least they'll know that they're loved. At least that they'll know that the bonds and the bondages of their past can be broken because of the love of a father, a spiritual father, the love of a spiritual mom. And so I'm just putting that plea out and that call out, that we put feet to our faith. We start walking in the spirit and living in the spirit and lead the sheep that is the harvest. I really believe we need to be out there with our t-shirts on. I really believe we need to have our church banners out there so people will be able to identify us, and we're not just blending in with our t-shirts the same color and our outfits and our attire the same, but something needs to be different, that when they see the love of God on a t-shirt, or they see our congregation name or our church name on a t-shirt, they'll know that that's somebody that's willing to pray. Where's the church? Shepherds, first ladies, I just put that out there. I see a lot of men of God beginning to call their sons in One man of God in South Carolina, he's going to have a heart-to-heart, men-to-men meeting with his brothers and his sons and those that he shepherd. And so I put that out there. Put some feet to your faith. Let's start really walking in the Spirit and living in the Spirit like the Word of God tells us. And with that being said, I'm calling a plea to my daughters, because I know the type of person I was. And I know in that same situation, I probably would be irate and out of control and wouldn't have been meekness, which is power under constraint, like that young lady Diamond Reynolds had. She had power under constraint because she knew she had an agenda to accomplish, and that was to be able to let it be known what really went on, because they'll twist it. And I'm still trying to ask myself, why did they even ask her to get out of a car and on the ground on a traffic stop? Why was she even taken to jail? I'm still kind of asking that question. That's kind of bothersome to me. No drugs, no rebellion, no resisting, but she goes to jail. I'm just saying. A call to feet to your faith. That's all I'm saying. Hope somebody's listening.